The wild horse is a species of the genus Equus, which includes as subspecies the modern domesticated horse as well as the undomesticated tarpan, now extinct, and the endangered Przewalski's horse. Przewalski's horse was saved from the brink of extinction and reintroduced successfully to the wild. The tarpan became extinct in the 19th century, though it was a possible ancestor of the domestic horse, and roamed the steppes of Eurasia at the time of domestication. However, other subspecies of Equus ferus may have existed and could have been the stock from which domesticated horses are descended. Since the extinction of the tarpan, attempts have been made to reconstruct its phenotype, resulting in horse breeds such as the Konik and Heck horse. However, the genetic makeup and foundation bloodstock of those breeds is substantially derived from domesticated horses, so these breeds possess domesticated traits. The term wild horse is also used colloquially to refer to free-roaming herds of feral horses such as the Mustang in the United States, the Brumby in Australia, and many others. These feral horses are untamed members of the domestic horse subspecies, and should not be confused with the two truly wild horse subspecies extant into modern times. Subspecies and their history. E. ferus had several subspecies. 3 survived into modern times: the domestic horse, the tarpan or Eurasian wild horse, once native to Europe and Western Asia, became effectively extinct in the late 19th century, and the last specimen died in captivity in an estate in Poltava Governorate, Russian Empire, in 1909. Przewalski's horse, also known as the Mongolian wild horse or taki, is native to Central Asia and the Gobi Desert. The latter two are the only never domesticated wild groups that survived into historic times. However, other subspecies of Equus ferus may have existed and could have been the stock from which domesticated horses are descended. Przewalski's horse. Przewalski's horse occupied the eastern Eurasian steppes, perhaps from the Urals to Mongolia, although the ancient border between tarpan and Przewalski distributions has not been clearly defined. Przewalski's horse was limited to Jungaria and western Mongolia in the same period, and became extinct in the wild during the 1960s, but was reintroduced in the late 1980s to 2 preserves in Mongolia. Although researchers such as Marija Gimbutas theorize that the horses of the Chalcolithic period were Przewalski's, more recent genetic studies indicate that Przewalski's horse is not an ancestor to modern domesticated horses. Przewalski's horse is still found today, though it is an endangered species and for a time was considered extinct in the wild. Roughly 1,500 Przewalski's horses are in zoos around the world. A small breeding population has been reintroduced in Mongolia. As of 2005, a cooperative venture between the Zoological Society of London and Mongolian scientists has resulted in a free-ranging population of 248 animals in the wild. Przewalski's horse has some biological differences from the domestic horse. Unlike domesticated horses and the tarpan, which both have 64 chromosomes, Przewalski's horse has 66 chromosomes due to a Robertsonian translocation. However, the offspring of Przewalski and domestic horses are fertile, possessing 65 chromosomes. Evolution and taxonomy. The horse family Equidae and the genus Equus evolved in North America, before the species moved into the Eastern Hemisphere. Studies using ancient DNA, as well as DNA of recent individuals, showed the presence of 2 closely related horse species in North America, the wild horse and the New World stilt-legged horse. The latter is taxonomically assigned to various names. Currently, 3 subspecies that lived during recorded human history are recognized. One subspecies is the widespread domestic horse, as well as 2 wild subspecies, the recently extinct tarpan and the endangered Przewalski's horse. Genetically, the pre-domestication horse, E.F. ferus, and domesticated horse, E.F. caballus, form a single homogeneous group and are genetically indistinguishable from each other. The genetic variation within this clade shows only a limited regional variation, with a notable exception of Przewalski's horse. Przewalski's horse has several unique genetic differences that distinguish it from the other subspecies, including 66 instead of 64 chromosomes, unique Y chromosome gene haplotypes, and unique mtDNA haplotypes. Besides genetic differences, osteological evidence from across the Eurasian wild horse range, based on cranial and metacarpal differences, indicates the presence of only two subspecies in postglacial times, the tarpan and Przewalski's horse. Scientific naming of the species equals, at present, the domesticated and wild horses are considered a single species, with the valid scientific name for the horse species being Equus ferus. The wild tarpan subspecies is E.F. ferus, Przewalski's horse is E.F. Przewalska, and the domesticated horse is E.F. cabalus. The rules for the scientific naming of animal species are determined in the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, which stipulates that the oldest available valid scientific name is used to name the species. Previously, when taxonomists considered domesticated and wild horse two subspecies of the same species, the valid scientific name was Equus cabalus Linnaeus 1758, with the subspecies labeled E.C. cabalus, E.C. ferus Badet, 1785 and E.C. Przewalski Poliakoff, 1881. However, in 2003, the International Commission on Zoological Nomenclature decided that the scientific names of the wild species have priority over the scientific names of domesticated species, therefore mandating the use of Equus ferus for the horse, independent of the position of the domesticated horse. Feral horses. Horses that live in an untamed state but have ancestors that have been domesticated are not truly wild horses. They are feral horses. For example, when the Spanish reintroduced the horse to the Americas beginning in the late 15th century, some horses escaped and formed feral herds, the best known being the Mustang. The Australian equivalent to the Mustang is the Brumby, descended from horses strayed or let loose in Australia by English settlers. Isolated populations of feral horses occur in a number of places, including Portugal, Scotland, and a number of barrier islands along the Atlantic coast of North America from Sable Island off Nova Scotia, to the Cumberland Island, Georgia. While these are often referred to as wild horses, they are not truly wild in the biological sense of having no domesticated ancestors. In 1995, British and French explorers discovered a new population of horses in the Raiwish Valley of Tibet, unknown to the rest of the world, but apparently used by the local Kamba people. It was speculated that the Raiwish horse might be a relic population of wild horses, but testing did not reveal genetic differences with domesticated horses, which is in line with news reports indicating that they are used as pack and riding animals by the local villagers. These horses only stand 12 hands tall and are said to resemble the images known as Horse No. 2 depicted in cave paintings alongside images of Przewalski's horse. See also, horse behavior. References. Citations Bibliography Equid Specialist Group 1996. Equus ferus. In, IUCN 2006. 2006 IUCN Red List of Threatened Species. Downloaded on May 22, 2006 from http://www.iucnredlist.org. Details php. Species equals 41,763. Moerman, P.D. 2002. Equids. Zebras, Assessant Horses. Status Survey and Conservation Action Plan. IUCN SSC Equid Specialist Group. IUCN, Gland, Switzerland.